All right, boys and girls, we've got Hurricanes and we've got Islanders. Woo! So you live on an island and there's a hurricane coming. There's a storm coming.
Whoa.
Damn. Better put on your rain boots and your Captain Highliner hat.
Whoa.
It's going to get crazy. Now, these two teams are defensively very sound teams that at times can struggle to score goals, right? Although Jake Gensel has really changed that for the Carolina Hurricanes. Things have gone quite well for him.
They were getting real bad goaltending at the beginning of the season, and they were like, what if we just went pew-pew and scored a shitload of goals?
And got Freddie Anderson back.
And they got Freddie Anderson back.
So the interesting thing with both of these teams is they both took weird paths to get here. Remember, the Islanders fired their head coach mid-season.
Yes, they did.
They were not in the race at all. And Patrick Waugh has Patrick Waugh'd them to the third spot in the Metro. How do you like the way these teams line up? Because you got two NHL Hall of Famers coaching them, and they're both really intense people, and these teams play a very structured style.
Rod Brind'Amour is not in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he's not.
He ought to be. Yeah, that's a topic for another video. Patrick Waugh, I think, might be in there.
Yeah. So what do we think?
So we have already today recorded, just to tell you how the sausage is made, Washington versus the Rangers.
Yes.
Spoiler, I think the Rangers are going to win. But this series, even though I think Carolina is a really, really good team, capable of going super deep, if you're looking for a series that could be screwed up by one goalie just straight up being better than the other, it's this one. I think, well, listen,
I like this. I like where you're going.
The Islanders have Ilya Sorokin, baby brain, and I almost called him Shesterkin, and the Carolina Hurricanes have Freddie Anderson, yes, who's been very good, yes, has durability issues, right? Sometimes. Kochetkov, he's got really good numbers on the season. He has games where he explodes. And then there's Ranta. Like I try not to go through all three goalies because you usually don't get to three.
But you can see that for the Carolina Hurricanes.
If there was a team to have goaltending cost them, and if there was a team to have goaltending steal the entire thing, this is the matchup.
Okay.
That is to say, I think the Hurricanes are a better hockey team. They are. I don't love the idea of ever playing the Islanders in the playoffs, even though their playoff success it's kind of in the past now.
Yeah, it's been a while. They missed since this is their first appearance since Barry Trotz.
Well, we talk about is the sun setting on the Tampa Bay Lightning, which that has sort of gone away. But the Islanders were the two teams who were sticking with them in the East Final both years they won the Cup.
Yep.
It's getting deeper and deeper into the past.
Something I want to throw on your radar too, by the way, is that Ranta has played 20-something games. Martin has played 20-something games or 19 games. Anderson played 16. Spencer Martin. And so Ranta played 24, Kochetkov 42, Spencer Martin 19, Freddie Anderson 16. So you got four goaltenders. Now, varying degrees of success. Spencer Martin's numbers are terrible. Antti Ranta's numbers are terrible. But Freddie Anderson and Kochetkov's numbers are very good.
I don't even know if Spencer Martin's still there. I think he's in Columbus.
Is he? Well, there you go.
I don't even know.
They still got him on the damn website.
Or did he go from Columbus to Carolina?
No,
I'm not sure.
He's a Carolina Hurricane.
He's there? All
yes,
right.
Yeah. But I think the point here is that this is a very, very, if you're a hockey nerd, interesting matchup. You're going to watching this game. Jesse, what do you think about this?
I looked at this series and I dug into some stats about the Islanders and the Hurricanes and all that stuff. And I said, I will not be bamboozled again. Because last year I was bamboozled by the Florida Panthers. And I thought there's no way they can do this. But if you remember last year, they fought their way into the playoffs. And they were a hot team going into the playoffs. And I said, okay, let's take a look at the Islanders numbers and see how they've been playing lately. And since March 29th, so that'll be 3 weeks from when the playoffs kick off.
Sure.
The New York Islanders have the most points in the National Hockey League through March.
The entire league
through March 29th through I guess I jumped the gun a little through April 17th games that haven't been played.
Oh, okay.
So from March 29th to April 17th, they have 15 points. Nobody else has 15 points in that span.
What's the record?
They are the hottest 7-1-1.
Wow.
Nobody is as hot as New York Islanders. And how they've done it is strictly goaltending. They lead the league in that span in save percentage. 94 94 save percentage out of, what is it? 9-4, I think it's 1, whatever it is.
Wow.
3 digits.
That's crazy.
Which is insane. That is an insane numbers. 3 points better than the Hurricanes in that same span. The Hurricanes in that same span have 12 points, which is like,
I was about to say, what's their record?
It's not 15. One thing that I thought was fascinating looking at the numbers as well is the Hurricanes have it's like 30 more shots on goal as discrepancy over the Islanders, but their shooting percentage is the same. So out of their shots, they're putting in the same 9% of them as goals, which is, I think, significant, because if the Islanders just stop more pucks, but they get the same percentage of their shots in the net, I think there's a serious path here for the Islanders to win this series. And it's not just Sorokin. Varlamov and Sorokin have matching 9-4 something save percentages.
See, I really think people need to update their opinion on the Islanders. They can play defense. Dude, Patrick Waugh's their coach. Mm-hmm. They're not going to play boring hockey.
No. And you have to update your opinion of the Islanders from if you had one in January, it's different.
It's like 3 years. Well, yeah. They're very valid.
The team that they are in March is not the same team that they were in January. This is a good hockey team.
And they can smother you. All the guys that were there during the Trotz era that smothered people are still there. I think that what's going to be interesting for Carolina, who's consistently had some of the strongest defense of the year, or in any year over the last 5 years. Team. Just a strong overall. But their top four is just always so good. Mm-hmm. Is the Islanders have really strong defense as well. Mm-hmm. And strong defense that scores. Noah Dobson had 70 points this year.
Yes, but Noah Dobson has been banged up this week.
Right. Well, but that's everybody in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things where you just, okay, if this was game 2 of the Eastern Conference Final, would he play? I bet.
Yeah. But it's the last one.
But we don't know. It's the question mark that makes you uneasy as a fan.
I'm looking at guys in this series. I'm looking at the Anders Lee, JG Pageau, and Cal Clutterbuck line, because the Martin McLean Bertuzzo line, you know what they're there for. They're Rock'em Sock'em robots. Mm-hmm. The Anders Lee, JG Pageau, and Cal Clutterbuck line is a shutdown line if I've ever seen one. Mm-hmm. And I wonder how Carolina intends to deal with that, because that seems like a pretty, if you can line match, especially in games 3 and 4, if you're the Islanders, that's a great line to make sure that the other team doesn't score at all.
Home ice is going to be huge, so that's an advantage for Carolina. Mm-hmm. And you better strike fast.
Yes,
you better strike really fast. The Islanders are they're difficult, man. They're full of guys who are just willing to outwork you, who are responsible, who score goals in playoff ways. You know what I mean? That's Anders Lee's bag.
Yep.
Right? That's Brock Nelson's bag. Oh boy. There's a reason we keep saying, I don't know if they're the greatest hockey team, but I don't want to play them in the playoffs.
And I look at the center depth for the Carolina Hurricanes. So you got Jack Drury up front, Evgeny Kuznetsov, who's had 7 points in 20 games since coming over, Kotkaniemi, who is a little bit more defensive-minded, and then Jordan Martinook on the fourth line. There isn't the star power there. What do you think about that as it lines up against a Horvat, Nelson, JG Pageau, and Kyle McLean?
Let me get a look at that.
So the lineup's there?
No, you left out Sebastian Aho.
I was like, wait a second. Is he on the wing?
Is he injured? Because I looked at the injury reports and I couldn't see him.
Maybe
I'm looking at daily.
Maybe he just didn't play the last game, because they update the daily faceoff based on the last game.
Okay.
Played,
okay. So
that's probably what it was.
Yeah.
But he's not even listed day to day or anything. He's not listed at all.
Yeah, so he didn't skate in the most previous game, so that's why he's out of the lineup, because it's just based on the most recent lineup.
So what do we have?
They're just resting him?
You got Aho in the middle.
Okay, no, Aho is an enormous add to all that. Jack Drury is very young. Kuznetsov, he's been okay. He's been fine. Kotkaniemi's just been fine, but this isn't fine season. This is where you got to play your best, right?
Kuznetsov, though, he's won a cup. He's gone deep. He's scored crazy goals for them.
Yeah, for Washington. There are all sorts of guys I look at on the on the Carolina roster that are going to have to step it up. But I mean, if I'm the Islanders, the longer this series goes, the better chance I have of winning. I think their chance of winning games 5, 6, and 7 are better than the Hurricanes. And I think the Hurricanes' chances of winning games 1 through 4 are stronger. I think the Islanders are going to beat the dog shit out of the Carolina Hurricanes. They're going to be chipping the puck in. They're going to be finishing every hit. And whether they win the game or not, if Carolina has a chance to eliminate the Islanders, will they be too sore to actually pull it off?
One name not in that lineup as well is Jake Guentzel.
Yes.
Jake Guentzel, who has 25 points in 17 games for the Hurricanes at the time of recording this. That is the most points ever by a trade deadline acquisition.
Wow.
What?
Yeah, he set the record officially.
Wow.
No trade deadline acquisition has ever had more points than that, which just shows you how well he fit into that Hurricane system.
And it's Jake Guentzel, so there's no thought of, well, let's see if he can do it in the playoffs.
No,
we know.
You know.
And if the Hurricanes, like, if they're going to win this, it's going to be, they're just going to outscore the Islanders, I think, because this offense is going to come alive and they're going to do it. And, like, Jake Guentzel is just going to, I assume, keep going. Like, I don't see him falling off as soon as game 83 starts.
There's some thought that this is going to be bad hockey to watch. I think that's lazy. I think that's so lazy. I think it's going to be awesome. I think they're going to kick the shit out of each other.
We didn't even touch on like the bolstered defense that they did last offseason, getting Brent Burns, adding him to that core, and having
43 points for Brent Burns this year. Not bad.
Pretty good for a 39-year-old man.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
Jacob Slavin, always somebody you gotta mention, and Brett Pesce. Jalen Chatfield, he's 21. I know he's 6'1", but he plays huge. That's a guy who I don't think the Islanders are going to be able to push around. He's going to be hopefully, I think he'll probably make the third pairing. Maybe he might be scratched a couple games, but when he's in that lineup, I think there's a guy who can push back on the Islanders' big boys who are going to try and push the Hurricanes around. So there's a lot of paths for the Hurricanes to win this series.
Prediction time.
Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, this series is so tough. You know what? There's always got to be an upset. Isles and 7.
Isles and 7. I like it.
And I really like the Hurricanes. If they get out of it, if they get out of the series, they can win the cup. I gotta make it spicy.
Jesse Blake.
New York and 6.
New York.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I'm going, and I've always believed in this
I almost
team.
said Canes and 6.
I've always believed in the Carolina Hurricanes, although I'm so impressed by the Islanders. I'm going to say Canes and 6. And I'm hoping that this sets up for, even though I didn't pick them, a Washington Capitals versus Evgeny Kuznetsov and the Canes in the second round. Wouldn't that be fun?
No shot,
cool. But it'd be
New York,
cool.
New York, baby.
Yeah?
That's what we're
that would be so cool too. Okay, so you know what? Great series. We'll see what happens.